So if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know I'm trying to combat my addictions, and one of them was smoking weed. I did previously try to break the habit by going 90 days without it, and ended up relapsing after about 50 something days, and felt pretty bad by the end of those 90 days, and you can watch my previous video to get some more context for that. But now, after that, I challenged myself to 100 days, and I've managed to do it. So there are a few major things that contributed to my success in this endeavour. First of all, on day one, I shook my housemate, my friend's hand, and I said, if I smoke in the next 50 days, I'll give you 500 quid. And we shook hands, so it's not like I was going to win anything if I didn't. There was only a negative side to it, which is if I do smoke, I lose 50 quid. And that motivated me, absolutely, to not smoke. I don't want to lose 500 quid. I got to day 50 and I was still feeling quite tempted to smoke. And I thought, well, if I really want to make this a success until 100, I'm going to shake his hand again and say another 50 days, but this time I'll give you 1,000. So even more incentive not to smoke for another 50 days. And now I'm getting to day 100 and I'm like, wow, I actually managed to do it. The other most important thing was writing a pros and cons list, where I basically split a paper in half. On one side it was smoking, on the other side it was not smoking, and then on the side of smoking I made a pros and a cons list, and then on the side of not smoking I made a pros and a cons list. And this really managed to put into context just how my brain weighs up the pros and cons of it. And the list of cons for smoking was way bigger than any of the other lists. The list of cons for not smoking was way smaller than any of the other lists, and I realized all I've got to do is, in those moments where I'm feeling tempted, is remind myself of the pros and cons, and I'll realize this is really something that I don't want to do. So yeah, this is what I would recommend for everyone to do for all sorts of categories of, well, habits they're trying to make or what habits they're trying to break, is make the pros and cons of doing and the pros and cons of not doing that habit. So now, how do I feel on a daily basis? Do I still feel tempted to smoke? And the answer is yes. There will be moments throughout the day where I feel down, I feel desperate for it. It's like I'm in a very negative mood, and it appears to me in those moments that smoking would be probably the only thing that I kind of want in that moment. But they don't last long. They probably last at most 10-15 minutes, and this I've noticed been happening often. The feeling does pass. So in the whole context of a day where I'm asleep for 8 hours, then I'm awake for 16 hours, I won't spend more than about 15-20 minutes a day feeling the need for it. The other 15 hours, I'm there thinking, oh, I'm glad I'm not smoking. For 99% of my time that I'm awake now, I'm actually pretty happy that I'm not smoking. And I know that I would feel bad if I did. I know that I would. So if I did give in to those moments, those 10-15 minutes where I was feeling tempted for it, I know that I would just feel bad after doing it. So moving forward, no plans to continue smoking, no plans at all whatsoever for that. I do think it's one of those things that's going to be a little bit of a situational context is going to matter. And I don't want to get into the habit of it again, because smoking is just a terrible habit and it makes me lazy and unproductive, and the list of cons goes on and on and on. But I do feel like if there were particular situations, unique scenarios that I don't feel like I would get to experience again, which I feel would be enhanced by it, then I wouldn't be opposed to it. But it's something that I don't want to do whatsoever. Like, it's probably something I'll probably do maybe 2, 3, 4 times a year at most, is what I'm thinking at the moment. But yeah, so that's me with the successful story of being able to combat the weed addiction over these last 100 days, and I've been really happy to say that I've managed to do it and that I don't plan to continue smoking whatsoever. Now, in terms of my 3 other addictions, YouTube, sugars and porn, those 3 I still have to combat. But what I want to do now is another 50 days with a bet of 500 quid for not watching porn. That is my next goal, is to really cut on this one, so that I can say that if I have cut weed and I've cut porn from my life, then I can focus my energies on cutting sugars and cutting YouTube, which unfortunately still really big ones. Even though I made a video about it recently, it's just the things, those 2 in particular, keep falling back on. Just yesterday I ate maybe 1,000 and something calories worth of sugars and watched YouTube for not that long, but maybe 7 hours. I'd say it's still a long time. So yeah, still got to combat those. But as far as the weed addiction goes, I think I can absolutely say that I've managed to curb it, cut it, don't have a problem with it anymore. And yeah, I'm very happy about that. Thanks for watching.